Welcome back to No Substitutes, the show where I have some of my favorite people on and we talk about what ingredients make them who they are. And this week I have a very special guest. You may have seen him on some of your favorite adult sites as well as both of our sites. He's made many waves in the industry, adult, maybe mainstream too, but he's probably one of the most kind-hearted and beautiful humans I've ever known. So please welcome Isiah Maxwell.
Thank you. Making me smile and blush.
I know. I'm already flustered. So I'm like, okay, I gotta focus.
So happy to be here. You're one of my favorite people.
Oh,
check.
There you go. You're one of my favorite people too.
Hey.
Oh, well, how have you been?
I've been good, still working as much as I do. So,
yeah.
Just taking care of myself in the meantime and
good.
Making sure when I rest, I can rest.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
That's good. I know you're a big horror movie fan. Have you seen any good new horror movies since, it was just Halloween season?
Yeah, there wasn't too many like horror movies that I was able to really get into because of time constraints this year. But I did see some style movies, so like The Substance.
Oh, yeah.
And like The Deliverant, which is a new movie with like Monique and everything. It's it has viral moments in it, but it wasn't like the best movie, but it has its viral moments, and it's worth the watch to like if you're bored.
All right.
And that's pretty much it that I was able to catch up on.
Right. Well, you're doing better than me. I still haven't done The Substance, and I want to see Anora. I hear that's like about SW people. Well, let's get into it.
Indeed.
What are 3 ingredients you need for your profession? 3
ingredients that I need for my profession. Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I would say
you're like probably one of the most successful ones that I know. So
yeah, I stack up on my ingredients. So
there you go.
I think like my main one would have to be you need a strong mental. Like this game requires a really great mental strength. And so if you got like a strong will, know who you are, very confident in yourself, it's harder to sway you from the direction you want to go into. Mm-hmm. I would say the second ingredient is a strengthened body. Like,
yeah,
you need you need to be conditioned to do it. In real life, I always like to say I'm a minute man in real life. Like when the camera isn't rolling, like I'm just like, happy to get as much as I can out of it. Like on camera, it's like it jumps up to about 35 to 45 minutes. And so like, I'm conditioned to perform that long. But yeah, if it was real life, I'd be like, after 5 minutes, I'd be like, okay.
We're good.
But I would say the third ingredient is more so how much you use of this ingredient. So a little less goes a long way. And what I mean by that is basically your ego. Oh. Like you do need an ego to like perform and like, be confident in yourself. You don't want to be like, oh, do I look a certain way on camera? That's going to throw you off. So, but you don't want to have an ego that kills your career. And egocentrics are like the number one killer of careers, so gotta be careful. But those are like the 3 main that you kind of need in order to do it.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I like those. Hey. Well, I feel like you're a very a lot of people look up to you in this career, like male and females. But who are some of your mentors in the adult entertainment?
Without a doubt, number one that comes to mind is Prince Joshua. He helped me a lot when I first started, when I was like barely able to afford to come up and down from the Valley to LA. He let me shower in his studio when I needed to smell fresh in my office because I used to just spend the night in the office to avoid the gas costs. Mm-hmm. He also gave me a lot of game that I've used today to help me stay like a good performer. And then it's just like I got a lot of great general advice from like the people that brought me in. So like the T-Rails of the industry, as a performer, the Rico Strones of the industry, and Shout out to my guy, Jason Brown, who was like the first contract guy for Black,
Mm.
and even just like coworkers that I grew up in the industry that I just like converse with in order to understand how to be in the industry, what kind of experience happened, and make sure it wasn't just me. And so, like
Mhm.
Donnie Sins and Jack Black are like two of my closest friends too.
Oh. So we had Anna Fox on, and she was telling us that you gave her a lot of advice that she just always ended up not following. And she was trying to tell us some really good advice you gave her in the beginning of, I think, her career or your career, but whether she couldn't remember what it was. So we were wondering if you maybe could remember what you told her.
Wow. I mean, a lot of people just see me grow up in this game. So I've been in the industry now for 13 years. So
Mm-hmm.
I used to be her publicist, her agent.
Oh.
And I remember as a publicist, I would take girls on interviews all the time to like different radio stations and to get them promoted. I would just listen to what they would say on air, and then I would take notes, and then on the drive back, I'd be like, "Hey, listen, like you talked about this, but you could have talked about that. You did mention this, but you mentioned that."
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the advice is the same that goes along with the ingredients of just
Right.
like how to represent yourself and take care of yourself while in this industry. I guess my number one advice would be research what you do.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people just kind of go blindsided into all of these jobs and gigs, and then they like get talked into doing something that they don't really want to. And if they did the research, they could have probably avoided a lot of those hurdles.
Right. No, for sure. That's good advice. I was going to ask if you had any other advice for new performers, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
You've said
doing
so
your
many wisdom
research,
things.
doing your research alone helps stop a lot of
Yeah.
those kind of conflicts that arises. You just
Yeah.
kind of know what you're getting into a little bit when you look up something. If you just simply look up something, people
That's
just
true.
get info and just go.
I'm super grateful because you were the second person I ever performed with. And so I felt almost like gifted from the gods that because you immediately, gave me some of the best advice. I can't remember either, but you knew how, also as a male talent, just unfortunately made me have very high expectations after that. But at least like you made me very aware of things I didn't know what to look out for. So I'm very appreciative.
Oh, you're good. You're a stunner. So kind of knew you was gonna blow up. Always,
Oh,
whenever I see performers like yourself, I'm always like, hey, don't forget me. I know
oh,
y'all gonna. I know y'all gonna go and do amazing things. You're gonna get approached by amazing people. I know how this industry attracts. So I'm like, hey, I'm just when you go up, I'll be here still.
I'll
So
be here. No, I never forget you.
all love.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like people that are mentors who are some, I don't know how to say this with like adult entertainment, but I guess who are some people, actually, it doesn't even have to be about your career, but about your life. Who are some of the most influential people that you could think of?
I would have to say my PR mentor from college, Lori Baker Shanner. She was great motivation in terms of like don't let your past hold you down, and like you could still be able to go and do great things. Because in college I got in a lot of trouble that I was like, am I going to be able to exit college and get like a job with like everything that I've done? And she was just like, yeah, you got this. And she just kind of was reassuring me that, you're young and you still got so much life to live.
Mm.
Um, I listen to a lot of advice my parents give me, and like I'm real close with both sides. And my mom stays in Cleveland, my dad stays here in Cali. And so, whenever I just need somebody to talk to, I'll just go visit them or call one of them up and just like chat and catch up on everything that I need to. And they just kind of reassure me of who I am. And it's they still give me advice to this day because they're always gonna be my parents.
Mhm.
And Yeah, that's pretty much like my core of like
Yeah.
who I would give like super credit to. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm a collector of perspectives.
Oh, I love
So
that.
I love to listen to people's story and
Hmm.
just kind of just like get to know somebody from a perspective that I don't have. So I
Hmm.
just talk to everybody and kind of get a worldview.
Learning so much from you. Every time I'm around you, I'm like, wow, I feel like I just went to a TED Talk. Well, what would you say was the best piece of advice your parents gave you growing up?
Ooh, the best piece of advice that my parents gave me growing up, um, it would have to come from my mom, who said it doesn't matter what you do, just be the best at what you do. So she just had me hyper focused on making sure like everything that I put my energy into that I just don't go half ass in it.
Right.
And so yeah, she really helped me out there and into like just being conscious of what I do and making sure that, I'm not just doing stuff and then moving on to the next.
Oh, that's good. No procrastinating for you?
I wouldn't say that. but I like to tell people I'm like the most laziest productive person you'll ever meet. And so like at times I definitely could feel like I'm lazy and like, but I'm not a big fan of being idle. So like after a while I'm just like, all right, let me get up. And I do so much in like a compact amount of time.
Oh, nice. Love that.
Yeah.
Who did the cooking in your family?
My mom and my sister, my aunties.
Mm.
I was raised by a clan of women, and so
Oh.
on my mom's side, there's so many women and just so few guys. So it's only like me and three other male cousins, and then everybody else is just women. I have 8 aunties, and they have all kids, and my mom and I have 2 uncles.
Mhm.
And so, like, they cook for me every day. Like, we didn't have to go out and eat fast food. They cook meals for more than like one day at a time. So, um, all my family members would come over and just eat and everything like that. So it was always like a big family gathering and Sunday dinner and stuff like that. And so yeah, they kind of raised me on good food.
Oh, that's good. And that was in Ohio, right?
Yes,
Cleveland?
that was growing up in Ohio. I came out to Cali when I was a teenager and did high school out here.
Oh, right. Okay.
Hmm.
So your dad moved out here, I think.
But he stayed out
He
here.
stayed out here.
Yes.
He's here.
Yeah.
What was your favorite snack as a kid?
The only reason why I laugh is because I'm like, oh, snacks are such a luxury item. When I was growing up, we had the name brand cereal and
Right.
and like our snacks. My mom was in the army, so I know people that had like army parents. They had like the little kind of like army packs that you would get that the army would go out in the field with. So it's kind of like those food packs that you would open up and pour a little water in, and then it could heat up. And yeah, so it was just like ready meals. And so like there was always like a couple of granola bars in there that was like my favorite kind of brand, but most of the time the food was like hit or miss.
Mhm.
But yeah, whenever I was like super hungry, my mom was like, just eat one of those packs. And I was like, all right, dinner isn't ready yet. So,
Do you have a favorite MRE?
I guess the rice and chicken. When you're hungry,
Right.
everything tastes good. So I wouldn't necessarily say I had a favorite. I was just happy I had something.
I'm very uneducated about this stuff. Is it like airplane kind of like pre-made things, or what is it?
Yeah.
Freeze-dried and then
Freeze-dried.
Yeah.
then they last forever.
Yeah, they're like literally like 3,000 calories per meal though. Like, because like my parents were Marines, so I still have MREs in my cabinets. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's survival food. Like,
Yeah, because
we
they're
was
like
ready
for
the
wartime, so they need you to like be filled up and have all your calories and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, if you like
There's speed in it. Maybe.
you out in the field, you just pull one of those packs out.
Perfect. I wonder what would happen if we gave a bunch of performers those.
A lot will be hungry.
I love it. Well, besides, what is it, MRE? Is that what you guys said it was? Yeah. Well, besides MREs, what was the best meal someone's cooked for you? It can be from childhood to now.
Today, I say it as if it was like such a long time ago, but today I go home for Thanksgiving all the time, and that's because my family over there season their food a little bit better. But I go there for like my Jamaican style Thanksgiving. And so my mom is remarried, and my stepdad cooks everything from scratch, and he knows how to make the most amazing jerk chicken, the most amazing oxtails and coconut rice. My mom and sister be coming up with the yams and the mac and cheese and everything like that. So I think I've been in Cleveland like the last 7 out of 8 years just to taste their food, and so like that's my thing. And every time I come out there, they always prepare. Oxtails is very expensive, so like at times, and so like they always have it ready for me when I'm out there, and like that's like their claim to fame dish for me.
Have you found any good Jamaican food in LA?
Yes, 1876, which I believe is the Jamaican area code.
Oh.
If y'all fact check me, I'm probably off by one number, but yeah, there's a Jamaican place right down the street here, and it's in Chatsworth area.
Okay.
And they're the only ones that I've seen that really kind of make their stuff from scratch up in the Valley area. In LA, there's a lot of Jamaican places over there, and like some are really good and some are not so good. But this one, my friend Trudy is one of the owners there, and like we always converse, and she like supports the career and come down with coworkers all the time. And I even sent my parents there, and they was like, "Oh, it's okay, it's good." I was like, and if they say it's okay and it's good, that means it's really good, because I don't have a scale, so. But yeah, that's like my favorite one in the Valley LA area.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yes. They got curry goat, they got saltfish and ackee and saltfish, and beef patties, and it's like the Jamaican quick snack, like a hot pocket.
A hot pocket. Nice. What are some unpopular food opinions you have?
Some unpopular food opinions that I have. I wish you shouldn't eat fried food every day.
Well, no. I don't know if that says unpopular.
I don't know. I feel like the South might get pretty upset.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's unpopular in different areas.
I mean, we are in the country that has the highest obesity rate, so.
Yeah, Ohio is the testing ground for new fast food products. So, like, I think you could thank a city in Ohio for the Baconator. And like, when they want to test out food products, they send it to Ohio for us to eat, and like we're the ones that give the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
Whoa.
So
Ohio controls
Oh.
America.
yeah, we have our hits and misses. Like we got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Lake Erie, and
I've never even been to Ohio. I didn't know what was out there besides the birthing place of Isiah Maxwell.
Yes.
I think you're actually the only association I can think of with Ohio.
I feel that. Yeah. Ohio is it's a family town. So like your family members are your friends there and stuff like that. And everybody pretty much lives within a 5 to 10 mile radius of each other. So yeah, it's just a real homey town.
Yeah. If it's a place for like giving the thumbs up for fast food, it's probably a very big blessing that you were fed some home cooked meals.
Yeah. That whenever my auntie sees me with any soft drink, she'd be like, "Oh, that's 2 now." Like, she's like, "You want some water?"
You want some water?
But then they also, my family's funny. Like they'll also use a lot of butter. And I'm like, "Hey, y'all should be healthy." And they be like, "Oh, yeah, we need to get healthy." And I was like, "Yeah, you should use less butter." And they're like, "What? Butter isn't healthy?" I'm like, "Auntie, no, it's not."
You can bring them some grass-fed butter.
Yeah, that's true. But they wouldn't like the taste.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, no. I'll have a story to tell you about butter after this. What are some hobbies you have outside of work? Do you have time for hobbies?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of my time after work is prepping for more work. It's just like, like I shoot studios and collabs at the same time. So like if I'm not on a studio set, I'm probably prepping my like content room for a collab that's coming up. But my outside hobbies is I'm an outdoors kind of guy. Like I don't like to be indoors too often, and so I love to hike and get lost in the woods. I've been doing that since I was a kid, and I always took my friends in the wood to hope we get lost. But we always come out the other side that was like not too far away, and I was like, oh, okay, this is where it is.
You want to live a Stephen King book?
Yeah. I was like, let's see if we could find that house and that got candy or something like that. But love hiking. I do love reading. I was like, what are your hobbies? And I was like, oh, that's right. You got like the kind of boring kind of hobbies where you don't go out as much or don't sound as fun. Like I'm not big in like influencer places and stuff like that, but I do read a lot. And I love to be outdoors when I can. Yeah. And I love to travel.
Yeah.
Yes. I love to see the world. I love to think of new places to visit when there's some downtime, like around the holidays now. And so it's like my great time to plan a trip.
Yeah. Where's your dream vacation to go?
At the moment, I'm looking at a few of the Caribbean. So Dominican Republic is one that I'm looking at. I also been thinking about going to Bermuda. Just because as a kid, you thought the Bermuda Triangle was like everybody
I still won't go.
Yeah. You don't think of it as a great vacation, but apparently it is. So I was like, okay, let me just try it out because, I remember when the Animaniacs did an episode on the Bermuda Triangle of like why everybody's disappearing, and they like went to see where they went, and everybody was just vacationing at a bar there. It's like it stuck with me.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I think that skit probably just one time in my life, but it stuck with me.
Okay. Bermuda, Dominican. I'm trying to think what else is around there.
Not Caribbean, but Caribbean. I will probably also entertain Cancun.
Yeah. You want to go? So you want like some beach vacation time?
Yeah, just
that's your favorite.
No, just to chill here. Long-term vacation is. I look more towards across the pond and like Central Africa. So I've been looking at Ghana, Gabon. It's like where my ancestry point me back specifically, and also Nigeria and stuff like that. And so Ivory Coast. And like I want to visit the coast.
Yeah. Have you been there yet?
I've been to Tanzania.
Oh.
Yes. That was my first time out the country. It was to Tanzania, Africa. And I was I did a couple of tours here and there. And don't want to say their name, the Maasai tribe. Yeah. I participated with the Maasai tribes and we sacrificed a goat. I fed a village. And it was
what was that like?
Very memorable. It was for a job. And so like, I was out there filming and they needed someone kind of new. This was probably like my 4th or 5th scene in the business. I just came with my passport. I just like got my passport because I was like, one day I want to travel and I don't know when. And so I was like, but you need a passport in order. Yeah. And as soon as I got a phone call like, you want to come to Africa? And I was like, well, I'm ready. And they was like, why do you got your passport? I was like, I never knew when it was going to happen. So always stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Exactly.
And they brought me out there for a few days. And the thing with the goat was like, I saw a goat on a tree. And I was like, oh, look, they got pets.
Pets.
And they wardrobe me in a complete Messiah outfit. And so I like walked over and I was like, hey, can you take a picture of me holding the goat? And so like I was like holding the goat by the string. And then I saw the chief walks over with another goat. And he was like, yes, you are going to kill this one. I will kill that one. And I was like, huh? And then like the crew there, they was like, hey, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And I was just like, I don't want to tell the story how I almost killed the goat. Right. So I was like, I'm down. And I was like, it wasn't like it was just killing and then you throw it away. They use every part of it, the blood, the balls, and everything. They tried to feed me a couple of the that. And I was like, no, I'm good. But what killed it was that we were supposed to film a scene that day, and my scene partner didn't know what was going on. So when I like started, I was going too slow. And it was like, no, you got to really go so it don't suffer that. Like the animal won't be suffering.
Right.
And so I started going and then blood was just spurting out. And like, you know, the animals take a minute to pass away. And I didn't realize that. And so it was like, you know, it wasn't like traumatic, but it was just like an experience. And like, as it was going on, what they didn't tell me was that my scene partner was vegan.
Oh my God.
So she didn't know what was going on and just was like, oh, why is the crowd over there filming my scene partner? And she saw like the blood just spurting out of this animal and just had a complete breakdown. And I felt so bad. And I was like, she probably hate me right now.
Oh.
And so she was just crying in a bus and they was like, yeah, the scene is canceled for the day. Don't worry about it. And I was like, obviously. But like I went in there and consoled her and was like, you know, it was like for the village and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She was able to get over it. You know, I mentioned a few K-pop songs. I mean, like, click back again.
We were back together.
So that was like an experience. Like that whole Africa trip was crazy. Like we got arrested and we had to bribe ourselves out and they took us to the whole jail and everything like that. But to be honest with you, I never felt like I was in trouble. Like my crew that I was there, they was probably in trouble. But me, they was like, you okay. And I was
because
like, yeah. I was like, hey, are we in trouble? He looked at me. He looked at them. He was like, them, you. I was like, all right, bet. I was like, whatever about to happen, y'all good. I was like, I just got recruited. So,
I got recruited.
I was like,
I'm part of the tribe now.
I was like, I don't know
killed
what to
a
tell
goat.
y'all. Yeah.
I'm part of the family.
I was like, yeah, y'all got this.
Oh my God.
So we had to give them all of our money in cash, and then we had to like leave and go to a whole different city. It was,
Oh my God.
you know, yeah, it was a great experience. First time out the country. No hot water, no electricity. And,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Let me get this straight. Was it for a scene? Like,
I got the DVD at home. You could see me in my whole Messiah outfit. I had to pretend to be one of the tribe members. They had to cover all my tattoos because they don't have tattoos, so that was like a thing in the morning. What
company even has that kind of? I've never heard of that being a production.
Well, they do it with new guys, so you don't gotta like pay them much in order to go out there. So the budgets for that is really. They would prefer to use real Africans there, but they don't want to perform.
No.
And so like interracial is not illegal, but it's like a thing there, so they don't really do much interracial relationships. And with all that being said, the food there was amazing. Like they cooked some really good food to bring it back.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, they cooked some really good food there. They treated me very well out there, and like, you know, it was just, I felt really welcome. Like, you know, they was really welcome in there. They was charging me less for everything. They was charging the crew more, and I felt so bad for that too. They was like charging me $1 for water.
Weren't you getting paid less anyways?
Yeah. So it was like they asked me to come out to Papua New Guinea the next year, and I was like, no, I'm good.
That's like so much for a scene. I did not even know that people did that. I thought it was all here.
Yeah, it was way too heavy of an experience for what they was paying, but it was a great experience for my first time out.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is something, the world is a little different.
And they at least paid for your travel?
Yeah, they paid for my travel. They paid
that's
for
cool.
my rate. They just couldn't pay me. They wanted to pay me in cash. We just couldn't after that whole arrest thing. They literally took all our cash. They was like, are you okay? But they warned me that might happen. They was like, yo, it's real corrupt out here. So they was like, if our money goes away, don't worry, we'll wire you. So.
Okay. Well. I don't know if this answers this question or not, but what's been the most adventurous food you've tried, and would you try it again?
The most adventurous food, probably seafood. When I used to go to like the Chinese buffet with my grandpa, and just like I would just try like the octopus or squid and all of like those kind of stuff, and just a little pepper, tasting okay and stuff like that. But I would always try like the food at the buffets that was like extreme looking, and I'd be like, oh, I want to see how that tastes because I was like, it got eyes or something like that.
It's got eyes. Fair. Okay. I don't know if this question's answered also from the last story you just told, but what's the life event that shaped you?
The life event that shaped me was probably when I was younger and I tried to live life on my own for the first time. I got kicked out of my parents' places and stuff, being like a little teenage rebel and stuff like that. And I was at the tail end of my rebel era where like I was like, all right, let me apologize to my parents and like come back into the fold. I apologized to my old job and got it back, which was Burger King. And it was like 2 or 3 days before I had to move out of the place I was staying because I couldn't afford to stay there anymore. And I remember I was down to literally my last pennies, and I went to the 7-Eleven on the corner, and I looked inside the refrigerator at a brisk iced tea that was 99 cents, and it was Sunday. And I just remember that I started work on Thursday, and I had $1.11 in pennies in my pocket. And I was like, okay, I could buy this drink right now, or I could wait to Tuesday and spend that money on 2 tacos for 99 cents and I would have something to eat. But I was like, you ain't gonna have both. I was like, so do you want to drink something now or eat something later? I was like, once you get to Burger King on Thursday, then you're pretty much set because you could like snack on the fries there and stuff like that. And throughout this whole time of thinking this, I probably was staring at that brisk iced tea for about 5 to 10 minutes, contemplating what to buy. And so I was just like, after I realized how long I was staring and contemplating at this brisk iced tea, I was like, bro, man, this is $1. And I was like, you got to like figure out something that is more than this. You shouldn't be contemplating this long over something this slow. And so I was just like, all right, whatever we got to do, man, we just going to figure it out so we don't ever have to have this feeling ever again. And so that moment was like my jump start into taking myself serious as an adult and being like, all right, let's skip the shortcut ways and just do the long grind and get there.
That's really inspiring. Aw. I'm just picturing little Isiah like, chilling at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, such a core memory.
Aw. That's very moving.
Yeah.
It makes sense too, like, I don't know. You're also like one of the only people that I've met in the industry who gave me good financial advice.
Yes, I tend to mention that a lot to people. I mean, I'm like, the one thing you want to first read in this industry is financial literacy and human behavior books. So like Robert Greene's and like The Art of Seduction, the 48 Laws of Power, financial literacy books like All My Worth, or like Men, Women, and Money, which was written by Kevin O'Leary, like one of the Shark Tank people. I mean, you could find any of your idols, and they likely wrote a book. And so I was like, if you got an idol, then read what's in their mind so that you can have a better understanding because you look up to them as successful. So they pretty much wrote the formula that helped got them there. So those kind of books really help shape your career in terms of how you want to move.
I think you actually gave me a financial literacy book when I first got in. Yeah, I still have it if you want it back.
Do you know which one?
No, I just remember there's an old white dude on the cover.
Yep, that's Men, Women, and Money. Because
Okay.
I was literally looking for that book maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And I was like, I thought I had it because I was about to give it to someone else. And I was like, I thought I had this book. I was like, all right, well, let's order it off of Amazon. I must have gave it away because I do that time to time. And so, yeah, I just reordered that book. And I just gave it away again.
Okay.
But it's like one of the crazy, it's like 50 mistakes that people make with money. But All My Worth is a really great one, too, that is written by 2 women. And they got the 50-30-20 rule. But there's so many different books out there that will blend in together after you read enough. But like those are great. And How Money Work is a very pictorial book. So that's like one of my favorites because it makes me feel like I'm in. Yeah. I was like, oh, look, this pig is helping me realize what it means. And so I'm like, I get it now.
I get it now.
Yes, currency.
Currency. Thanks, pig. Oh. What would you say is the most important thing to you right now?
My relationships and keeping those strong and healthy because money comes, money goes. And like the people you care about, your core people, like my immediate family, my sisters, my parents, always want to make sure they understand that whenever they need me, I'm around for them. And they always know that if you tell me to stop to do something to help you like with your kids or anything like that, it's no problem. This work could come and go later. And so I was like, it's there. It's great that it's, keeping me looking responsible and stuff like that and taking care of me. But like, I'm here for y'all whenever y'all need to. So, nephews just had a championship game, and they won. And, they're real cool now. So
They're looking real cool.
yeah. And so, it's like those kind of events means the most to me. I invest, I'm very frugal with my money, but I invest heavy in memories.
Oh,
So
I like that.
I'm going to pay for us to have a great vacation. I'm going to pay for us to go to a really great place and just have great memories that follow through. And when we reminisce, it's like, it's all smiles.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to put your money somewhere, that's probably the best place. And then, the market.
Yeah. Rest in
Index
peace.
funds.
Rest in peace to my boy Jake Adams. He's the one that taught me that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got in right the year
Right
after
after.
he passed.
Yes.
Moment of silence for Jake. I think we have some fan questions or producer questions.
we have a bunch of producer questions.
Oh my God.
Actually. So earlier in the podcast, you referred to yourself as a Minuteman.
Yes.
And I've also been called a Minuteman, so it's nice that it's nice that I finally have representation
That's right.
in adult film. So thank you for that.
Gotta stick together, man.
Yeah.
To be clear, he's not like that in filming. So.
Well, all right.
You're like, there's just someone out there.
That's why when I film and they be like, my pop is on command.
Yeah.
Because I could just pop whenever they need me to. And the reason why is because in real life, I'm just a minute man. They're like, are you close? I'm like, I'm always close.
I'm always close.
I was like, the thing is, it's like, I always reference the Hulk from when he was like, how could you just transform? He's like, I'm always angry. I'm like, that's me. I'm always ready.
I'm always ready.
On camera, can I get permission to say I'm just like Isiah Maxwell anytime someone brings that up? I'm just kidding.
When someone says like, is that it? You could be like, hey, that is Isiah Maxwell quality right there. All right.
Yeah. So a question that I had meant to bring up to you before we're recording, and I forgot to. So if you don't want to answer this question, it's okay. We're gonna edit it out.
Sure.
Yeah, in an interview, you mentioned something that kind of like caught my interest. And earlier on in your career, you were told that you needed to look more uncomfortable on camera.
Oh yeah.
And I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really understand what that means. Can you explain that? And then, like, were you able to achieve that?
Yeah, it's one of my practices now. When I was in Ibiza, I was working. That was like my first time working with everybody from different parts of the world and stuff like that. And so it was like a really great experience to like cater to different personalities. But the owner of that company came to me one time and he was like, "Hey," he was like, "I really like your performance. You're a solid performer. My only critique is that you need to learn how to have sex uncomfortably." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And so he was like, "You need to learn how to disconnect." He was like, "When you have sex uncomfortably, that means take yourself out of the picture and not do nothing that is just comfortable to you. And on camera, what it does is it helps you disconnect from the scene and allow the fan to insert himself into the scene. Because if they just see like heavy connections between you and the performers throughout the entire scene, it's hard for the audience to get involved in the fantasy. They could only fantasize like, oh, this is between them. And so he was like, just have sex a little bit more uncomfortable. He was like, if it's uncomfortable, then it probably looks good. And so he was like, the reason he mentioned uncomfortable is just so that it could help disconnect me from the scene and insert the fan. So that advice went a long way with me in terms of like, all right, most of the time I know that they're not filming my face. And so I don't have to worry about how my face looks so much. I was like, I'm like, especially for a lot of the POV companies you see me film for, if you ever like behind the scenes or stuff like that, you would look at me and be like, is he okay? Because I'm like so far back and I'm just thrusting and I'm like, I could feel the insert going in and smoothly in and out, and those are long strokes. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I know it looks good. I can't see what's going on, and like there's a big camera in my face with somebody huffing behind my ear, and I was like, I just gotta super focus. And so I was like, all right, at least I know that the fans are gonna love it. So yeah, that's what uncomfortability means.
That's actually pretty legit advice then, because in my head I was like uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah, I just took it as like, don't look like you're having a good time.
yeah,
Because if it was
like-
me, I'd be like smiling the whole time. I'm just happy to be there.
like I'm just happy
I
to be
am
involved.
smiling. It's just uncomfortably smiling. I'm just. So, and it's like, oh man, good job. I'm like, yeah, it feels good. It feels
Feels
good.
good.
It feels good. Thank you.
That's
But
funny. Okay, so before I pass it off to the producers, before you came here, Lumi said something really funny where she was like, oh, our producers, Ash and Morgan, are really going to love you. And then she's like, even you, Chris, like he has like such a great voice. And I was like, all right, like I hear a lot of good voices.
I said they're all gonna get flustered.
And you do like listen. It's my job to listen to podcasts, and I listen to a lot of radios. You have like one of the best voices I've heard in this. Like you have a future. If the whole porn thing doesn't work out, you got a future in podcasting or radio.
I feel like, oh my God, if it was like the 70s, what was that movie? Was it Undercover Brother? When he's like a radio talk, or no, something else where I think it's Eddie Griffin or
Yeah.
someone. He's like,
think
he's
that might
talking on the radio.
Might
He's
be, yeah.
like, I feel like if you were in the 70s, you would have been that guy, like talking very sensually between all the songs that you're putting on for the lovers and the baby makers. Yeah, like
I think it definitely comes from tinkering it with like my old ex-girlfriends from like back in grade school and stuff like that. And just trying to
Grade
sound
school?
like cool, like cause like high school, but like just trying to deepen your voice a little bit. But it definitely came to mind when my first job in college was kind of fundraising. It wasn't like telemarketing, but you would call like the alumni and you would just ask for donations to their old colleges. And I just remember talking to some lady and I was like, hey, can you like donate $50 to this college? And she was just like, I didn't want to at all, but after listening to you talk, you just soothed me so much, and I'll donate $50.
you just
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is dangerous. Like my manager was there for 4 years, and she raised like $50,000 within her 4 years that she's been there, which made her become the manager.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for like 6 months, and I raised like $75,000.
Oh my God.
And I was
Just off his voice.
I figured out the formula very early of like what I need to say that wasn't on the script. I was like, the script sounds too scripted. And
Right.
so I was like, they only wanted me to get to the main points. So I was able to get to like the main points and not like hold them too long, and they just agree fast.
Do you think that translated into your acting career? Because you're also like a great actual actor, not just porny acting. Like, do you
it
like?
helped.
Because I feel like in porn, even if the script's good, I've been with people that you're like, okay, I know you're you're saying it like you're reading it,
Yeah.
and that's like when that's like not the best acting, and then it's hard to act with someone.
I
But
took an acting class in college, and that kind of gave me some pointers of like, how to not sound like you just reading lines.
yeah,
And to kind of improvise to like spice things up so that the script don't come off too bland.
yeah.
But just paying
So
attention.
not the telefundraising.
Yeah, no, it was more so like I did a lot of YouTubing in my 20s, and like in terms of like, oh, I can't go to acting class and do work at the same time, so let me just look up acting classes on YouTube and stuff like that. So there was like a bunch of people that I would listen to. It's like one guy from Star Wars that give acting lessons, and this is just like other guys that just give pointers, and I would just listen because there will always be things that I wouldn't think about, and it might not be the most sound advice, but it's advice that again I wasn't thinking about.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know why I just imagine you delivering every line, like whispering it in someone's ear. Like that's, but
We've
speaking,
had a few scenes like that.
Chris has a boner. Okay.
Oh my God.
So speaking of shows, and I know you mentioned Animaniacs, which is classic 90s cartoons.
Yes.
Was there any other like cartoon growing up or like a specific character that you're like, oh, that is me?
That is me.
Probably Brock from Pokemon.
Aw.
I was into all of the women that I've seen, and like my eyes would just light up, and I'd be like, yes, you, yes, yes, like whatever you need, I got you. So yeah,
Gotta catch them all.
so I can relate to Brock a little bit. Let's see if there's any other character that I had to think of. I could be silly at times, like SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Just based off of your car, I always thought you would say Batman.
Well, Batman is definitely a big part. Yeah, I guess so. Batman animated series. Yeah, I always
like the
been,
cool series. I think when Mark Hamill was like the Joker.
Yes, that's my favorite iteration of the Joker. And I do have a lot of philosophy in my life that comes from the Batman. Like that's why you see Chucky dolls all around my place.
Yeah.
And that's because Batman, you just face your fear head on. And Chucky was the first thing I was afraid of when I was a kid. So
Oh, I didn't know that's why.
it was
I
the
just
first
thought
nightmare I had.
Oh.
Yeah, he chased me through my house. I remember, and the black cat saved me. It was
the Black Cats.
the first dream I ever remember, and stuck with me since. And so I was just
Wow.
like, all right. And then I really got into Chucky. So
Was that like why you got into horror films?
yes. Because every time I showed Chucky to my friends, they was like, yeah, this is cool, but let me show you a good horror film. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I just got into it. And then it started with like Halloween, of like watching a horror film each day, and then understanding the genre of how it peaks and then comes down and stuff like that. So horror films don't necessarily scare me as much anymore because I know like the formula of how it's created.
Right.
But I love a good horror film. I love it if it's dumb and not so scary, or I like it when it got a really good story and scary at the same time. I hate when it's I like it when it's dumb but have a good story. I don't like it when it's dumb and have a bad story.
Yeah. Because even like all the Paranormal Activity movies, I think if you just watch it by its like one by itself, you're like, cool, shit's just flying around. But
Yeah.
when you start and like read about the story and like how that family made a deal and now they're all fucked, you're like, oh no. And then that, like the story makes it more scary.
Absolutely.
That's like the only example I can think of.
Oh, I love the classic horrors from back in the day when I was a kid, like 13 Ghosts. Ghost Ship is like one of my favorite scary movie intros of all time. I remember as a kid, I took the bus to go see Darkness Falls by myself because my friend flaked out at the last second, but I was like, it looks so good. And I saw the movie, and after seeing the movie, every part in that movie made me jump. And I was just like young. And when I was headed back home, I stood in like every street light. And so like I was like, I ain't standing in no dark. I saw the
Not
movie.
sitting in the dark.
I saw the movie again as an adult, and it was so cheesy.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I was scared of this. I was like, it wasn't that bad. I was like, I'm glad I rewatched it.
Oh, good. It's like healing your inner child in a way.
Oh yeah, you got to do that sometimes.
Exactly. I like that.
Sorry. Where am I? Oh, you said you love the outdoors, and I really want to know for myself because I'm new to LA. Where in the LA area is the best hike that you've been on?
If you want to get lost,
I don't know if she does.
I do, as long as there's not a man in jeans that comes up to me.
yeah.
That's always a bad sign.
All right, so let me think of somewhere else.
He's like, okay, well, you won't like Gerald.
Yeah.
He's
Like-
the guy in jeans on that hike.
Like, I'm not a big influencer hiker, so you won't see me like at the Runyon
Runyon,
Canyon.
no.
I'm not. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
I hear Fryman's not bad. If you're gonna go like between those two, I hear Fryman's a little better.
So my
Okay.
my favorite trails will probably be like for exercise. I do the Beat Canyon Trail, which is in Granada Hills. It's like a 3-mile hike up a hill. And if you want to explore more, once you get up to the hill part, you could go through the backside of the gate, and that leads into like the bike trails, and there's deers there, and a lot more nature, and that's like where the nature kind of hides out. Escondido, it's a little drive away, but it has waterfalls, and it's a great hike. I took a lot of friends there back when I was in high school. Malibu Trail is like one that goes on forever. So if you just like to like see how far you can go, then that's a really great trail. Um, and I would say Rocky Peak, which is kind of in the Chatsworth area right before you get to Simi Valley. It's like that last exit before you make it over there. That trail also has a lot of great kind of twists and turns for you to like explore until like somebody gets tired and you got to turn back around. Like, I mean, as I was hiking up the trail, I saw like one of the biggest condors I've ever seen, just like it looked like a Pokemon. But yeah, I really love trails that you could get lost. Like I took myself out to Hawaii for my birthday and I went alone. And because I was like, you ain't gonna pay for somebody to enjoy your birthday with you. But I chose the Big Island and I chose like the Volcano Park and brought a week pass there because I know how much I love to explore. And I was like, if anybody else was on this journey with me, they would be mad at me because I walked to basically where I'm like, okay, you got to turn around before the sun goes down and you won't be able to see your way back.
That park is so cool.
Yeah, it was lovely. I took pictures everywhere.
Okay, one more. On vacation, do you care more about eating really nice or expensive food, or would you rather go on like a great adventure and have an experience?
I mean, I do love food, especially on vacation because it's part of the experience. You know, if I go out the country, I want to experience the culinary there because you know you can only get certain things across the sea that you won't get. You know, the difference of meats is a big difference, and when I was in Hawaii, I think I cooked everything myself. But I did try to go out and find something to eat. It just wasn't anything really good out there.
And the Big Island doesn't really have a nightlife.
Right.
Like, I feel like everything's closed pretty early.
Yeah, like I only been to a couple of islands, but it wasn't the real touristy ones. It was like the more lush ones. So like Kauai and like the Jurassic Park Island and then the Big Island. And so there wasn't really much to eat out there. So but the food that I was able to buy there was very fresh. And like, you know, I brought prawns and fresh tuna and sashimi and stuff like that. So, and that was like from Costco. So I was like, oh wow, y'all good.
Yeah.
But, when I'm out the country and like doing like a extended vacation, I do like to eat, and then I'll go out as a bonus.
Yeah.
But when I'm home, I'm pretty much like with my routine.
Yeah. Is that it for you guys? Oh, okay.
No, sorry. We
Oh my
actually
God.
do have one more,
Okay.
but Ash was supposed to ask this one, so I'm just going to ask for her.
Okay.
Let me let me pull
no.
up her notes really quick. You mentioned you like to read. Are there any books that you're currently reading, and what's your favorite genre? Is there a book growing up that you would have loved to transport yourself to?
That's a lot of questions in one.
All right, let me go back through them. I guess the books I would transport myself into was like those Harry Potter books when I was a kid. The only reason why I stopped reading them was because I hit puberty at the time, like the 7th or the 8th book came out. And so at that time, it was just too late for like my mind to focus on those books. But those were great transportation books when I was a kid. The book I'm reading at the moment is The Anxious Generation. And I want to say the author is Jonathan something, but he's basically talking about Gen Z and how they're one of the first phone-based generations to be raised. And like before then, like the millennials, the Xers and the boomers were play-based generations. And so the invention of the smartphone just kind of helped decline mental health. And so that book is a very interesting read to see how social media affect women versus men and the way we kind of found new ways to bully each other, the new ways that predators approach the youth in those books and stuff like that, and how we consider which age is internet adult and which is 13 at the moment. And so, like, I love reading psychology books, books of like how people in groups move together and like, you know, sociology and stuff like that. And I'll throw in a fiction book every now and then. When I read fiction, it goes so far into the fantasy of it. It's hard for me to like cling on to it feeling like it's reality. And so I was just like, I'll read a bunch of like nonfiction books in order to like keep up to date and give discussion topics when I'm talking to my friends.
All right. Thank you so much. Where can the fans find you?
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. It's Isiah Maxwell. I spell my name Isiah Maxwell. And with Instagram, it's Isiah_Maxwell.
Yes. I always tell people in this industry to make sure you give the correct one because we know there's so many fake ones.
Oh, yes.
And you guys know where to find me. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Sorry, it always just sounds so like. Anyways, thank you.